It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we're going to talk about random nothingness because I have random nothingness planned for this evening, but I thought we could talk a little bit about where I've been for the last 2 weeks. There are a couple people that know, but for the most part, I've kind of been offline. Maybe somebody can help me figure out why my Amazon Fire tablet is doing this. When I stream, I like to keep an eye on the time. I like to know what time it is, what time it was, what time it's going to be. And this is the device that usually tells me the time. It usually has the time across it, and I have it hanging up just off camera so I can always see it. And I don't know, it doesn't seem to be working. So if anybody wants to try fixing this during tonight's show, I'll hand it off to them, and they can try and get that working. Before we get into a bunch of nothingness, though, and by nothingness I mean like nothing train related, because I haven't been doing any train stuff for the last couple of weeks. I did think I would share a new car that I got. It's a little dark, a little hard to see, but this is the car I showed last week. This was the last week. I think it was like 3 weeks ago now. It feels like it was forever ago. Let's try and get more light on the subject, shall we? Is that better? It's a little bit better, maybe. So this is when I drop something on the layout and break things, so we're trying not to break anything for today. Okay, there we go. Now we can see. Yeah, so I tried this over and over again. I can't tell if it's actually powered off yet, though. That is that's the problem I'm having, is the lack of figuring out whether it's on or off. Yeah, I think yeah, my last stream feels like it was last year. It was actually, I think, September 26th or something like that. And I think that's when I showed this. This is the Microtrains Halloween car. This is an N scale car. And what I think is interesting is this is Atlas's Halloween car for the year. And I don't know about anybody else, but I look at these two cars and I say, are these both really N scale? This guy claims to be a 60-foot high cube, and this guy claims to be a 40-foot just plug door box car. I mean, I guess that is 20 feet of difference in N scale, right? It's just the difference is just massive. But yeah, so this is Atlas's car, nice and colorful. This one doesn't light up. This other, the Microtrains one, does light up, but these are kind of fun. Looks like Atlas is a new little sticker they're putting on their jewel cases, or at least new to me. I haven't seen it before. So that's the only train stuff. Is it grade or percentage? I know. That is a good question. I do, you know, Bernard, if you're gonna make me do it, I guess I should have known that someone was gonna ask, right? I do have this handy dandy fancy ruler here. This is the N scale up here, and you guys probably can't see it, but yeah, according to this is a 60-foot box car, and if I measure this one, yeah, I mean, it says it's 40 feet. I don't know. I mean, if you don't have one of these rulers, I would recommend it. This one does HO scale, O scale, N scale, and that says 64ths. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's just a regular scale. But this is the Excel Deluxe Model Railroad Reference Ruler. I think I have another one too. Do I have another one? Let's see. What does this one say? This is the Microlux Model Railroaders Ruler, and this one has HOS, and it says, I don't know if you can see what it, can you guys see what it says there? Let's see if we try zooming in a little more. I don't know if you can see that, but instead of HO gauge or S gauge, it says HOGAGE. Oh, right, 1/64th is S scale. Duh. That makes sense. So this has HOSO and N scale on this side. Oh, you know, these look like they are exactly the same ruler, except the big difference is this Excel ruler, you can see, is really thick, and the Microlux one is very bendy. This one is pretty stiff, but yeah, I mean, depending on what you're doing, I think everyone should probably have one of these, and I should probably have one of these, and I should probably know where it is, and come prepared to my shows. I also have, here's while I'm showing things off. This is from printablerulers.net, and this is one that I just printed out on paper, and then I covered it with packing tape. So yeah, this one's also an N scale. Looks like it's a little off. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the word gauge is a variant spelling of gauge, which is the noun form. Okay, how many people are going to start using gauge, G-A-G-E, instead of gauge, G-A-U-G-E? Dead space and the end of the Excel, I don't care for that. So you know, in carpentry, one of the things they always talk about is burning an inch. And what burning an inch basically means is that when you have probably everybody here knows this, right? So I'm probably telling people things they don't know. So on a regular tape measure, right? So this little piece here at the end moves, and it moves on purpose. It's supposed to move. When you're trying to get a really accurate measurement of something, though, what they'll tell you to do is burn an inch, meaning instead of starting at the end of the tape, you actually start in a little bit, you start in 1 inch off the tape. And then that eliminates this movement in case your tape measure has been damaged. So I would assume that's why this Excel, why this guy has blank space. I'm guessing that the blank space is essentially that you're burning an inch. In case the end of it gets damaged. I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true. I could just be completely making stuff up. Which isn't that what this stream is all about? So, I'm already exhausted. I don't know about anybody else. So for that reason, I'm going to talk about where I was, and we'll see how long I last. Yeah. So funny you say that. When you burn an inch, it is so important that you remember that you're burning an inch, because otherwise you end up cutting things twice. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of the way it is. So where was I? So John Klinkenberg, I think it is how you pronounce his last name, if I'm remembering correctly. John Nippenberg. John Nippenberg said, did I not have power for the last 2 weeks? No, I did have power for the last 2 weeks. I luckily was not affected by any of these storms, and I hope that anybody here that was affected by the storms made it out okay, and that your families made it out okay, because some of the footage coming out of North Carolina and various places was just, I mean, anyway, that's not where I was. I wasn't off doing that. I have made absolutely no progress, none whatsoever on the layout. So I was pretty much laid up for the last couple of weeks. Back in July, anything I say, we're going to get into medical stuff. Anything I say, don't take as medical advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. Go see a professional. Back in July, I got really bad heartburn that lasted a little longer than expected. Actually ended up going to urgent care because the heartburn was really bad, and I wasn't sure what was going on, and it was like radiating out through my body, and like I was having chest pain, like the whole thing. So I like go to urgent care, and by the time I actually got to the urgent care appointment, because urgent care doesn't open till 9 a.m., by the time I got to urgent care, basically the heartburn and everything had passed. So, urgent care was like, oh, like, go get an ultrasound, go get this, go get whatever. And I'm like, I have American health insurance. Like, I'm not going to go, like, do all this stuff if I don't have to do this stuff. So I kind of put it behind me. I didn't think much about it. I said, oh, it's just heartburn. I've had heartburn before. I got to eat better, right? I mean, I'm a model railroader. I'm getting the model railroader shape, which I'm not proud to admit. I probably need to eat a little bit better. So that incident happened back in July. I put it out of my mind. Many months later, I had another incident. So this was maybe a month ago. I had another incident, felt the same, And I don't know how it kind of came to me, or how I sort of figured things out, but somehow I really, probably Dr. Google, right? I mean, these days Google diagnoses anything you want diagnosed. Go on Google, you'll find something to validate your illness, right? I mean, that's what it is. So somehow I figured out, oh, like this is my gallbladder. This is a gallstone issue. And I knew I had gallstones because a couple years ago I got an ultrasound, and in the ultrasound pathology report, it called out gallstones. But if you know anything about the gallbladder and gallstones, yeah, right. See, Ray, exactly. If you go on Google, Google will, tell you whatever you want to hear. So I learned that, the gallbladder is about as useful as the appendix. If the gallbladder's not bothering you, they just leave it alone or whatever, gallstones, whatever, no problems. But here I was having another flare-up about a month ago, and they say a flare-up lasts more than 4 hours to go to the doctor. So I went to urgent care again, and the doctor basically said, yeah, take a bunch of ibuprofen or whatever, and it'll go away or whatever. If it doesn't go away, if you start throwing up and you start having a fever, go to the emergency room. Otherwise, just take some over-the-counter stuff. Whatever. At that point, again, by the time I got to urgent care, which was like 2 days later, everything passed. So, it's so funny. I don't drink coffee at all. Don't drink coffee at all. Stop eating guacamole. I love guacamole. I know. I thought the same thing. Funny you say that. I wanted to keep the stones, but it's not the way it works. So that incident went away again, but like things started like coming together. Like I started realizing that like, oh, like I've had these heartburn issues for a little while now, and they usually just go away, but this isn't really something that's new. And then about, I guess it was 2.5 weeks ago now, I got another gallbladder attack that just never went away. And I think same thing, I went back to urgent care, went right away to get an ultrasound, immediately booked an appointment to a surgeon, because at that point I had learned through Google that once you start having gallbladder issues, they say you will just keep having gallbladder issues. I did see that there are some new reports that say that they might not think that's 100% true anymore, but basically, if you have gallbladder issues, at this point in Western medicine, they just remove it. It's just what they do. So here I am again at urgent care, went and get an ultrasound, make an appointment with a surgeon, meet with the surgeon. It's like 3 or 4 days later or whatever. I'm still in pain. The pain is still not gone away. And if you've ever had kidney stones, I thought kidney stones was just about the worst pain that a guy could ever feel. And I say that because I know that it's still not, if you're a woman and you've had kids, I know that the cramps pain, but, kidney stones for a guy, it's pretty painful stuff. But those go away. I mean, kidney stones, pretty easy, blah, 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 blah. So the gallbladder pain just wasn't going away, and they were giving me, again, just take the over-the-counter pain stuff. And I'm like, can I get anything stronger? And they're like, well, the only thing stronger is to give you fentanyl or heroin, right? I mean, it's like Oxycontin or whatever. And they're like, we don't want to give you that. So I make an appointment with the surgeon to have my gallbladder removed on November 4th. So I'm about 4 days in. I get some amoxicillin and yeah. Oh, poor Rick passing a pine cone. That would not be good. So I've got my appointment with the surgeon for November 4th. They're gonna remove my gallbladder. Here's the thing, when you go and see a surgeon, they don't really they're not like, surgeons do surgery. That's what we do. So, we go to the surgeon schedules it November 4th. Great. The reason you schedule gallbladder removal for when you're not having a gallbladder attack is that it is a much more difficult surgery. Again, not a doctor, not medical advice. This is what I was told. I'm repeating stuff. I may have been in a lot of pain at the time, so I may not be recalling the story 100% correctly. But what I was told is that when the gallbladder is inflamed, it is a much harder surgery to do than when the gallbladder is not inflamed. So as a surgeon, the goal is to wait until the gallbladder is not inflamed and remove the gallbladder when everything is calmed down. So I leave the surgeon's office with some medicine. 2 days later, I call up the surgeon's office again, and I'm like, look, I am not going to make it to November 4th. The pain has gotten worse since the last time I saw you. The over-the-counter painkillers are doing nothing. What do I do? Melinda, my girlfriend's freaking out, which I don't blame her because I am in just constant pain. I can barely go to work. I can't think straight. So this was 2.5, 3 weeks ago. This was basically right after, it started the Thursday after the last stream that I did. So I've kind of been in, I was in pain for that whole time. So Dave asks, not that question. Where was it? I clicked the wrong thing here. Doesn't the gallbladder produce bile for digestion? So the answer is no. The way it was explained to me, and again, not a doctor, but the way it was explained to me is that what the gallbladder is it is essentially an overflow storage pouch with a built-in pump. So your liver produces the bile that the bile is the enzymes that break down the fat in your pancreas and your intestines or something like that. I don't really understand it all. So the liver creates the bile. When you eat a very fatty meal, your gallbladder, which is storing that bile, so it's kind of the liver's up here, the gallbladder's off to the side, and then where everything digests is down here. So the liver produces the bile, it drips down the little tube, and it goes into where things digest. But if your body doesn't need it, it will get stored in the gallbladder, off to the side. So when you eat a very high fatty meal, your gallbladder goes whoosh, and it squeezes out all the excess bile, and it goes into your system. It helps you digest the fatty meals. If you have gallstones, sometimes what'll happen, excuse me when I take a breath for a second. How do I feel now? I'm doing okay. I'll get into it a little bit more. Things are still interesting. So if you have gallstones, sometimes when it does that squeeze thing, it'll shoot a gallstone out, and that gallstone will get stuck. When that gallstone gets stuck, you get inflammation. The more it happens, the more inflamed it gets. And I guess we'll get into, sorry about that, Dennis. Yeah. So what's the size of the gallbladder? I have absolutely no idea, Zoe. I know that the gallbladder sits under the liver. I don't know how big the liver is. I am amazed. All right, so let's get into this. Surgery was going to be November 4th. I was not going to make it to November 4th. He said, okay, we can squeeze you in on Wednesday, October 9th. So on October 9th, I went in at 9 a.m. and I walked out at 8 p.m. without my gallbladder. Crazy. Yeah, I know. I should have done a whole... I know I should have done a whole thing. I can imagine. No, this is not medical talk. This is Heath making up bullshit. Here we go. The gallbladder on average is roughly 2 to 3 inches by 2 inches. So I thought you were learning about train tracks, not digestive tracts. Yeah, today it's a little bit of, I guess, right? I guess we could talk about that, right? So the liver is kind of like the, you know, the north staging yard, and the gallbladder is that, like the caboose track where you store the cabooses, and when, you know, the train is, there are a lot of cars on the train and the conductor needs, so they squirt out a caboose. And I don't know. I'm just making things up. Ray, I think you might want to talk to somebody about that. So I had surgery. Obviously, I made it through surgery. They do the surgery, well, they try and do the surgery laparoscopically. What that means is they stick some cameras in you and stick some things in you and do everything over cameras. If things are really bad, they will need to do an open gallbladder removal, where basically they gut you like a fish. Very hard to recover from, or I shouldn't say hard, much longer recovery process. Yeah, so the theory is, what if you don't eat high fat foods, and even if you do, the liver apparently learns to adapt, and theoretically they don't, theoretically some people have some issues, other people don't have any issues. This is very funny. I didn't even think of this at the time. But yeah, it's very funny. I didn't I didn't get a video of it, but there are a lot of videos. I asked the surgeon before, I said, is this going to be robotic surgery? And they actually said no. There are a lot of unknowns with gallbladder surgery. Essentially, at least the way they did it at my hospital is they open you up and then they see how bad it is. I thought I would be going in earlier, right? So I got in, oh no, ice cream dinners are a good idea. Ice cream, very, very good. Now when you eat gallbladder, you'll have diarrhea or throw up. Generally not throw up, yes, diarrhea. About 20% of people will have diarrhea with high-fat foods. Not to get too much into my life story, but diarrhea, IBS, it's something that I've been living with for years. May have been related to the gallbladder, so who knows what the future holds for me. In the pre-op area where I was at, I was getting my gallbladder removed. The guy next to me was getting his gallbladder removed. The guy across from me was getting their gallbladder removed. It's apparently a very common surgery. I did not have an MRI or a PET scan before surgery. Basically, I had all the symptoms and they basically said, we're gonna remove it. I was kind of surprised. I thought, here I am, I'm gonna go into surgery. They're gonna cut me open and then the doctor is gonna say, oh, there's actually nothing wrong in here. It's something completely different. Your organs look beautiful. That was my big fear. That was my, yeah. This is true too. The future, yeah. Not before the surgery, but so laparoscopic surgery, they fill you up with air. So they pump you full of air to expand your abdominal cavity so that they can see things, and they cut it out. So when I went under, they told me, the average surgery is like 20 minutes to an hour and a half. But what can happen is if you've been having gallbladder issues for a long time, there can be a lot of inflammation. And if there's inflammation, not to get too graphic about anything, but the gallbladder sits right underneath the liver. If your gallbladder gets inflamed a lot, it actually starts to kind of, like the organs kind of start, they don't grow together, like they're separate organs, but they get agitated, right? Like if you rub things together and you get friction and they kind of, anyway. So, yes, pains in the shoulders and stuff, which they say is from the anesthesia and the other stuff. Yeah. I did kind of, I did want to keep it, but I was just in so much pain. I couldn't even think straight. So they went in and, they removed the gallbladder, and the surgery, I got to get more information. I was a little out of it during the surgery, but, I think the surgery was like 2.5, 3 hours. So it was supposed to be like 20 minutes to an hour and a half. Took about 2.5, 3 hours. Basically, there was a lot of inflammation, and whatever was going on with my gallbladder had been going on for a while. So I'm a week post-surgery. I had the surgery last Wednesday. No, is that wrong? What is today's date? Is it really? Yeah, so 1 week. Yes. So 10/9. Right, so 10/9. So last week was surgery. Walked out of the hospital at 8 p.m. that night, which is crazy to me. Crazy to me. They were poking around on my insides, and I walked out of the hospital. I mean, as much as a guy can walk who had just had stuff ripped apart on their insides. It was very hard to take a full breath. I felt like, I can only take short breaths, and, there are a bunch of stuff, whatnot or so forth. So I'm a week out. Things are doing better. I'm not supposed to... yeah, exactly. Well, after the initial paku, they basically were like, okay, stand up and get in the chair to roll me down to the secondary one. And I was like, you want me to get up? Like, I just got out of surgery an hour ago. They're like, yeah, get up and get in the chair. So, I'm a week out of gallbladder being removed. I wouldn't say digestion is fixed yet. I'm not supposed to pick up anything over 7 pounds for 2 to 3 weeks. Not really supposed to walk the dog for 2 weeks. Lifting up a scale 40-foot boxcar is probably okay. Lifting up a real 40-foot boxcar, probably not okay. But I'm still figuring out. I'm still figuring out what I can do and what I can't do. When somebody cuts into your abdomen, one of the things I don't realize, I don't know about anybody else. One of the things that I don't realize is how much I actually use my abdomen to do anything. Picking everything up, getting up out of bed. Oh my God, like trying to lay down in bed and then sit up again. For the first couple days, it was, I've lost about 10 pounds, but hopefully I'll lose more. I need to lose more. So yeah, So yes, the dog is okay. The dog is fine. I apologize. 2 weeks ago, when I posted the picture of the dog, that things were canceled, there was nothing wrong with the dog. There was something wrong with Heath. Heath was in a lot of pain. Heath wasn't thinking right. Heath just posted quickly because I didn't want people to come like find whatever. Yeah, I had that problem getting out of bed for years. Yeah. Yeah, breathing's been interesting. Yeah, the abdomen's not not good. Yeah, right, with your hernia too. I'm sure you realized, like, it's pretty wild. So it wasn't so much sitting down and standing up, because sitting down and standing up, I can use my legs, and I'm still luckily young enough that I can pretty much just use my legs to sit down and stand up. What was impossible was going from sitting to laying down, because I couldn't lay to the side, I couldn't lay back, I couldn't lay. Yeah, I know, I screwed that up. I apologize for anybody who thought that the dog was having issues or the dog passed away. I apologize. The dog is doing great. Yeah. It was me. I appreciate that everybody was worried about the dog. I think it's funny that nobody was worried about me, but very funny. Oh my, sneezing hurts. Sneezing still hurts. Yesterday I had like this sneezing attack, and it was brutal. It was brutal. So I'm at the point now where I still get pretty tired. Some moments I feel like everything is fine. And some moments I feel like, oh, like I can go take the dog out. Oh, I can go like do whatever or whatnot. And then I'll sneeze or I'll cough and I'll remember. It's one of those weird things where laparoscopic surgery, so much of it is internal, so much of it you don't see. Oh yeah, there was something I laughed at. There was something I laughed at early on too. They do say, the doctors actually say, like, it's gonna hurt when you breathe, it's gonna hurt when you laugh, it's gonna hurt when you cough. They want you to do those things though. I don't know how good the surgical glue is. They basically glue you back together with some like surgical glue. But they want you to cough and do all these things. So yeah, no ladder climbing, no like kind of crawling around underneath things for a little while. They did say after 3 weeks, yeah, that is true. Pictures of scars. I will not be posting any pictures of my stomach. Will not be doing that. Absolutely no way. It took about 5 weeks to feel better in mobility. Yeah, so I feel, as I said, I walked out of the hospital. I did a bunch of walking the first week, right when I got out. I have not, I can supposedly start doing aerobics in 2 weeks. And then in 8 weeks after surgery date, I can start lifting weights, which I think is pretty incredible. I'm not going to show anybody the scars. Oh, that's funny. So I don't drive, but I can imagine that if you have a manual car, pushing on the pedal can be tough. A lot of it is like twisting stuff. Ooh, you had staples. Yeah, so I don't think, as far as I know, there are no stitches. no stitches at all. It's all just, surgical glue. Could be Zap. Glad you're okay-ish. I did tell them, when I found out the gallbladder is not really an organ that we use, I kind of said, well, if we're removing organs that I don't use, feel free to remove my brain, because as all of you know, that is an organ that I never use as my brain. So yeah, my understanding, and again, this is Heath making stuff up, I think wasn't super glue a field medical thing from like Vietnam or something like that? Yeah, so I probably won't be doing any breakdancing. I won't be doing the Running Man anytime soon. Yeah, well, so what's coming up on this channel is all spandex episodes all the time. Yeah, I think people will, come and check it out. Tie plates. I don't know what that's about. I thought you were talking about like lifting weights. So funny story is I actually used to lift weights. That's actually why I unfortunately got to the weight I'm at, because I kept eating and I stopped working out and I didn't, yeah, anyway. Yeah, so for the past 3 weeks now at this point, it's been my gallbladder that has really taken me out of it. Yeah, so there are 5 holes in me. There's 4 tiny holes, and then there's one big hole right up here under the solar plexus. I'm guessing this is the one where they did a lot of the stuff. Anyway, this one hurts still. Like, this is the one that, like, yeah. So I had to lay on my back for the first couple of nights. I can now lay on my side for short periods in time. It feels a little uncomfortable. I do the whole, I forget, somebody saw it. There are ways of getting up and getting down with the abdominal issues. Part of the problem, though, is because of the way things were, turning on my side hurt. So it was like you want to turn on your side to like lay down in bed, but it hurt to turn on my side. So it was kind of like I would do this like thing where I'd turn on my side and then like quickly try and like fall down into bed. It was it was an adventure. It was an adventure. But yeah. So I am doing well. I am tired. I can feel it like as so I wasn't sure whether I was going to stream tonight. I do, like, I feel it, right now. Taking breaths to talk, and, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I stream, I do most of the talking. So talking straight for almost 45 minutes now. I do feel it, but I think it's it's good to push yourself a little bit. They're like, yeah, you can go back to work in a week or two, so I went back to work in 4 days. Not the best idea. Man, was I exhausted the first couple things. Andy, because you are posting as yourself and not as Este Pandy projects, we all feel like we can't acknowledge your existence. Yeah, like it's I had to get out there, jump on it, and just do it. I don't feel bloated. It's more, it more feels like I did a bunch of workouts, and my abs are just kind of they're just kind of sore. John, sorry about that. Yeah. Organs we don't need. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I gotta remember to get my tickets for Amherst. I still have done nothing as far as plan my trip for Amherst. I have a huge workshop. I have a huge project at work that is going on that weekend, and I'm still trying to figure out, how to. I'm lucky I don't have that yet. But yeah, I'm good. Dog's good. Where was I going with stuff? So, in another 2 weeks, I'll go see the doctor again, and I'm curious to know, like, I don't know. I'm still having digestive issues, but I mean, I think it might be partially surgery related. I mean, I was on Percocet for like 3 days after surgery, plus all of the antibiotics and all kinds of craziness and stuff like that. Yeah, Dennis, I gotta, what I really need to do is just book the hotel. That's the thing I'm most worried about. Yes, they did find a tail in there. So they removed that as well. Yeah, they want me walking, they want you walking. So, yeah, the walking, getting up, getting down, just trying to have some semblance of a normal activity. Hopefully, I guess here's the thing with anything in life, right? I mean, you don't know, you don't really know what's going on, especially when you can't see stuff. I am not somebody that likes going to doctors. I'm somebody that is terrified of doctors, terrified of needles. I have really bad panic attacks when I get like IVs and stuff. So like I avoid going to the doctors at all costs, but I'm very hopeful that this is gonna be a good change. Like in hindsight, when you have this like heartburn or whatever, and then like you realize like, oh, it's related to my gallbladder, and then you start thinking back and you're like, oh, like for years I've had these digestive issues that they could all have been related to my gallbladder this whole time. And I never really realized it. I've kind of had to get over that. Oh, with type 1 diabetes. Yeah, I've gotten better over having blood drawn. But if it comes out slow or anything, I'm a mess. But yeah, I mean, I'm still they want you to be normal. Yeah, I told them that's not possible. Dave, see, I have to cough right now, but I'm afraid to cough because I know how much it's gonna hurt to cough. So I've kind of got this like tickle in my throat that I'm trying to like ignore and just kind of like keep talking through it, and maybe it'll go away. Because if I have to cough, it'll be like, oh, it'll hurt. And I don't want to say any bad words. I haven't started on probiotics yet. I'm kind of waiting a little bit to see how and if things settle down before I start on the probiotics. But yeah, I mean, I definitely already have that on my radar. Specifically probiotics, obviously, to digest fats. I've been drinking a lot of protein shakes and eating a lot of fruit, so I have a feeling some of it is the fruit as well. And yeah, like I will definitely grab my stomach before I cough if I need to, but even so, like things like just rattle around and it's just like bah, and it's just blah. Anyway, If I'm not mistaken, and I need to check this out because I don't know for sure, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, that November is like Men's Health Month. Is that true? Men's Health Month. Men's Health Month celebrated each June. Okay, so I was completely wrong. June is National Men's Health. Well, okay, so we completely missed it. Completely screwed that up. I don't know why I thought it was November. I guess it's Movember is November. Oh, Men's Health Month, June or November. Oh, it's No Shave November. Notice Movember is a health and wellness campaign taking place in November. Men's Health Month's annual observance is in June. Anyway, either way, I'm gonna wrap this stream up. I've been talking, and I need to just I need to cut it a little short. But men, we don't talk about what we're going through ever. I didn't know what my gallbladder was. I like, I've heard of a gallbladder, but like, I didn't know what it was or where it was. Like, I knew where the appendix was. Like, I was clueless. I don't know. I don't think men talk about this stuff. Yeah, November is Model Railroader Health Month. So, you know, I think it's good to talk about it. I will say, I will highly recommend go get a colonoscopy. They've, as far as I understand it, they've lowered the age now, so they now start getting colonoscopies at 45 now instead of 50, because early detection is the most important thing. I had a colonoscopy. They found something because they found it early. Everything's fine. Now I've just had my gallbladder thing. So, you know, I don't know. Take care of yourself. I'm guilty of it. I'm not the healthiest person in the world. I put things over my health all the time. But in order for me to be able to finish this layout and enjoy this layout and enjoy this stream and enjoy this community, I definitely need to take a little better care of myself. I hope this conversation might inspire somebody to go get something checked out that they've been meaning to get checked out for a while and haven't gotten checked out. So whatever that means for you. If you have any other questions about what I'm going through or what my plans are or whatever, feel free to reach out, email, Discord, wherever. From the city that never sleeps, although I'm going to go to sleep. Farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity.